Hey, what's up, YouTube? Six Shooter here, going to give you a review on the Walther PPK in 380 caliber. So let's dive right into it. Over here are two empty magazines and the original grips. This pistol has the Packmeyer grips on here, which I highly suggest because the thickness of these original grips compared to the Packmeyer, they're a little thicker, and this little ridge right here, when you hold the pistol, it really is comfortable. I mean, it really makes a big difference and gives you a little bit more of a profile to hold on to. Now, I bought this pistol from a guy here locally who was the original owner, and he was kind of, emptying his inventory. And I said, I'll take it. And so we'll get into the pros and cons here, some comparisons later on, but let's just go over the basics of it so you guys, if you're not familiar with it, I know there's tons of video up there, but I'll give a brief review on it. To break this pistol down, this trigger guard, it kind of throws you off at first. This trigger guard just pulls down like this. And generally you just kind of just pull it to the left and hold a finger on it, such as that. And then the slide, you just pull it, straight back, lift up in the back, and then go forward with it. And there's a single spring that is sitting there. Now the barrel is affixed to the frame, and that really benefits, and I'll talk about later on about how accurate this firearm is. So to put it back together, you just put the spring back on, put the barrel on like that, pull it back almost like you're racking another slide, put it on, bring this back over, and it falls right back into place again, and there you go. This is a safety and a decocker, which acts just like some of the PX4 Storms or the Beretta. So when you pull this down, and it's only on one side, when you pull this down, the hammer falls forward, and at that moment, you'll see the trigger goes all the way back. And then when you put it forward, the trigger jumps forward to say, "Hey, this is ready to fire." And in this mode, you are in double action, single action, like the Berettas. So if you're carrying this, and in this mode right here, you can pull the trigger back, and you can see the hammer will come back, and then it's a double action. Now you could also just go ahead and pull the hammer back just like that, and you can be exactly in single action. But the idea is your first shot is can be double action, and then when the slide racks back, then you're in single action afterwards. Single action is, both of them are very smooth and very predictable. It's got an equal weight as you pull the trigger back. Now it's a little heavier, I'll give you that, but Wolf Springs, you can go online, does sell spring kits for this, and they it's pretty cheap. Like for 14 or 15 bucks, we give you 14 to 20 pound recoil springs and hammer springs and things like that, that if you want it lighter. And what's the trade-off of that? So if you go with lighter springs everywhere, then the hammer doesn't spring as hard. And if you've got good ammo, it's generally not a problem, but you could start getting a light primer strikes, and there's something to consider for that. So there's a trade-off between what ammunition you're carrying. So anyway, that's kind of like the functionality of it. Let's dig into deeper of would you own this or buy it? So there has been some confusion, and a lot of guys have covered it, but I want to give a close-up of this. And when you see that first line that says under license of, that generally means it's made in the United States and has been licensed to be made. So these pistols have been around a good 80 years, and they were originally made in Germany, and you can find this information online. But what happened was There were some gun control acts back in the day and all this stuff, so they couldn't import them anymore. And then they started manufacturing here in the States and this one's made by Interarms in Virginia. So they made them, I believe, all the way up to, if I may be mistaken here, but around 1999. And then either their license ran out, and nobody really knows why they quit making them. But then Smith and Wesson took them over, and then they started manufacturing it. You'll see the stamps on here so you know who's making them. And then the older ones, which are tough to come by, and a lot of people hold on to them. They won't have this licensed under. It'll have a either be blued or stainless or whatever, and have similar engravings on this. I've shot both this one, the Smith and Wesson, and there's a lot of people who say pro or con either way, but they both feel really nice. The biggest difference between the Smith and Wesson and the one made by Interarms is the Smith and Wesson. They redesigned it a little bit. They made this beaver tail a little longer because apparently some people, their webbing on their hand got really high, and when the slide would come back, you get the slide bite. I have not had that problem. And the other one is the feed ramp. They modified the feed ramp a little bit, and what you'll find is on the Interarms, let me get my focus going, you'll see that right here, it's like the feed ramp is down here and the barrel is up here. And sometimes you've got some really wide, at least what's been said, it hasn't happened to me, but if you have some hollow points, they might be able to drag right on this spot right there. Smith & Wesson changed this feed ramp, and I need to go take a look at it, but I don't know whether this was integrated together or not to make it one smooth integral piece. Let's see. This firearm is really an amazing piece of engineering. It's heavy. I mean, it is a heavy gun, and I like that. I mean, I'm not against that. And it feels, the manufacturing on it, I mean, the engineering is really good. It's just very, very well made. And plus these grips with this, if you can see it right here, how this comes out, compared if you had just the standard flat grips, that the Pacmar really makes a difference. These are about 35. It came with the gun, so I didn't purchase those extra. But the sights are kind of just straight normal sights, nothing to write home about, nothing fancy, just basic iron sights. But they are accurate, very, very accurate. So when you pick this up, I mean, you're going to be amazed. You're going to look at it, and if you're like me, you like to look at these pistols and the way they're machined and how well they're done is quite impressive. I'll give them that. Standard magazines. This is the PPKS version, which means this is a little longer. You get seven in the magazine. One in the chamber means you got 8. And let's see. So if you're asking me a question saying like, well, hey, would I buy this for a defensive carry? My answer to you would be, from my point of view, would be yes, you could purchase this gun and carry it as a defensive carry. But honestly, it would work, but it would not be my first choice. Now, I love this pistol. I think it's beautiful. It's something I'd like to have for a long, long time, keep around, pass on to generations to come, kind of thing. But it's heavy. It's a lot heavier. And so to do some comparisons, to give you an idea, if you're looking to get, your first concealed carry or something, here's the Ruger LCP. give it some size. Put this on the top. The Ruger is much lighter and generally smaller. The Bodyguard, very, almost the same as the LCP. It's not, nowhere near as it's not extreme, but it's not as tall right here. And then, if you're looking to compare it to like the more expensive SIG, 938, it's a lot smaller. Now I'm going to do a comparison later on with a lot of the 380s I've shot or have, but to give you an idea, a stock Ruger LCP you can probably get around $300. And throw in a $12, $13 grip on there, and whether you want a laser or not, and that's really lightweight. I mean, it's really lightweight. You can sling it in a pocket, very easy to carry. And same goes, for the Bodyguard as well. Very lightweight, very easy to carry. Magazines are cheap. They get six in there. Now the SIG is a little heavier than those other two, and they do have lasers, Laser Max or Crimson Trace, or the original SIG laser that comes with this. And this one's got a hoe grip on there, and but to go back again, if you can get a Ruger for around the Ruger for $289 used, or so let's just say between $280 and $320. You can get the Bodyguard for around $350 to $380, for example, at a store if they're available. And then your SIG, you're looking at $680, $650, around $700, and that's not including tax. And these are single, this is single action, these two are double action. And then the Walther, good gosh, if you can even find it. And most of them out there that you'll find are Smith & Wesson. Inner arms is definitely going to be used unless somebody just never sold one. And these can range anywhere from $600 to up to $1,000, depending on how much engraving is done on it, or things like that. So this is more in the price range of like the SIG P238. Now all of these are 380 caliber. But the thing that is the best thing about this firearm is that it's well made. It's stainless steel. It's not aluminum, and it's got the decocker built into it. It's double action on the first shot. If you leave the hammer forward, it's single action after that. And those are really some really wonderful features. But at the same time, it's so well made and stainless steel that it is heavy. And so that's just something to consider. So if you're looking to get a concealed carry gun, and you're like, all right, James Bond carried this. It must be cool and all this stuff. Well, if James Bond carried a Ruger, then I guess that would be equally as cool as well. But that's what you got to go against. The modern firearms that are out, you can, especially like with the Bodyguard, by putting some of the big dot sights on that thing. The SIGs already come with the 3-dot Trijicon. You've got a better sighting mechanism on some of the more modern firearms. Now, Rugers are still just built in. Nice gun, but skimpy on these. And with these built in the frame, obviously there's nothing you can do with that. But concealed carry is generally, pull it out and boom from the hip, right? That's how that generally works. But yeah, it's a man, is it well made. This is really a fine piece of machinery. So that's what you look for, when you're, if you're looking to buy one. That's at least my spin on it. Closing up, I'm going to throw some holsters in there that I've tried to add to my videos, because it's hard to tell what's out there. So I'll give you a couple examples. Here's one that I think I got off I don't know, like eBay or somebody. Nice thick leather holster, and this is really, this one was made for the 238, and you can see that that fits in there, you know, fairly nicely. And but like the bodyguard, because and the LCP, because of the lasers, you know, they fit, but it's a little bit more of a tighter squeeze. And the same with the Ruger, just won't even go there at all because of this laser down low. But if you can see, and let me zoom my camera out a bit. If you can see how that fits in there, and that's supposedly what it's made for. Well, the nice thing about that is this Walther fits in there just beautifully. Has a nice grip on it, and this is an inside the waistband holster. So nice and leather, will last a long time. Has this flap to keep it from rubbing up against you. But I found that unless you're wearing jeans or something like that, this is really thick. So there, if you wanted a different choice, something like Uncle Mike's. Now they make this one. It's called a size 1, and there's a trick to this one. It's called the inside the pant holster with retention strap, and you can see what it says it's for. It's for the 238, the PPK, you know, Burst of Thunder and things like that. And I started trying to look for one of these, mainly because they're thinner. And let me open up the box and show it to you. You know, they're a lot thinner. And what I thought about this was that I wanted something that I could clip onto a belt, you know, inside the waistband, but also something that I could actually put in my pocket. You know, that kind of did both. You know, I guess I could put this in my pocket, but you know, it sure is thick. So I'll show you what I did. So if you look at some that are Uncle Mike's, and this is a size 1, and it's got this retention strap on there, and it's kind of goofy how it works, but it's supposed to be made where you can adjust this Velcro, and it's got the net on the inside, and you fold it in to fit the size of your firearm. And since they said this one is for the PPK, is you put it in there like this, and then this, you know, this can fold over, depending, you know, which way you want to do it, and then you've got a nice retention strap in there. But you may be saying to yourself, wow, in an emergency, you know, I don't really have enough time to start pulling this off, you know, and you know, I want to get to this thing quick. And I thought the same thing too. So what I did was I literally just bought one, because, and the reason why is because this shape is better than the one that does not have the retention strap. And I just took a pair of scissors and cut it off, and it doesn't look like it's, you know, hacked up or anything like that. And then this guy just drops in there just like that and fits really nice. Now what I like about this one is, once again, I can put that in my pocket. It's fairly thin. It's kind of a suede, but this same holster also works for the 238. It works for the bodyguard, you know, and it also works for this Ruger with the laser on there. So all three fit in there really nice. And you know, this stretches a little bit because of this thinner shape, and this PPK is thinner. Now this one will have a little, it's a little looser, you know, but you know, like I said, that's what they said this one was made for, and maybe that's why they had a retention strap on there. So you know, and these are cheap. These are like 13 bucks. So you know, you can do like I did. You can buy 2 of them. You know, you have one with a retention strap and one without, and you can disconnect that or just cut it off. Last but not least, there's a more of a cheaper version of a inside the waistband holster. This is, you know, not as thick or heavy as this kind of leather. It is leather, and this one is for a SIG 238, and so that fits in there like that. Springfield also fits in there equally as well, and then the Ruger, give that a whirl. it will go in there, but not really so much. And then I'll, that one fits in there fairly nice. So that one's a little softer, not as stiff as this kind of leather, if you can tell. But anyway, it looks like a like a 238 holster seems to work well for a lot of these firearms, less the Ruger with the laser. And then last but not least, if I can find it, is my trusty old DeSantis. It's a size 5, and that, like I said, this one's for the Nano, and this flap does come off. You can use it to hide it as a billfold, but that fits in there. And like I said, this one was for a Nano, and they've got different part numbers, but I think they're the same. They're the same piece. The Ruger will fit in there. The Springfield will fit in here and keep it nice and tight, and also the Sig 238 will go in there. Now it sits a little lower, because it's a short gun, but the idea is, if you're looking for a holster, kind of a one size fits all fairly well, then I would say that the DeSantis, or the Uncle Mike's #1 with the retention strap, and just cut it off if you don't like it or not. And this one, like I said, you can put it in your pocket or inside the waistband. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. If you can find one, grab it, get it. It's a fine little weapon. And if it's the only thing you have, then hey, it's the only thing you have, and that's better than nothing, right? But like I said, it's well made, but it is a lot heavier. Matter of fact, it feels like you're holding a 1911. I mean, it's really got some weight to it. You'd be surprised. So anyway, I hope this helps you guys out. Be safe, and have a good one.